Hi, I'm Will Bubenik, and I'm the founder of Nebula Media Group. We've been making the internet accessible to people with disabilities since 2019. Did you know that 15% of the world's population live with some kind of disability? That's over 1 billion people, and they're potentially not able to use your website unless you've made it easily accessible to them. If you include senior citizens that have diminishing motor and cognitive function, that's 40% of the population that need extra accommodations to be able to properly access your website. What does properly access mean? It means a website complies with the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, the internationally recognized best practice and baseline for legislation for web accessibility. Now, one would think meeting these standards would be easy to reach, but in a testing of the top 1 million sites for accessibility, homepages average 59.6 detectable errors with an accessibility failure rate of 97.8%. So roughly 2.2% of all businesses have an accessible website. Actually, sorry, these are last year's numbers. This year it's actually up, and it's trending in the wrong direction. And this is exactly why 71% of all disabled internet users will leave a website immediately if it's not accessible. Let's shift gears. What do all of these companies and people have in common? Give up? The answer is they've all gotten sued recently for violating web and content accessibility legislation. Web accessibility lawsuits have become a cottage industry, hitting everyone from enterprises to mom and pop shops. In fact, there's been a 200% increase in lawsuits and demand letters in just the past 2 years, with 95% of them settling for $20,000 to $150,000 on average. All this can seem complex and overwhelming if you have no idea where to start. So I decided to ask several business owners for their top objections: money, knowledge and ignorance, and time. So what if I told you there was an inexpensive, simple, and instant solution that instantly solved all these problems? Enter Nebula Media Group, the one-stop shop for businesses to address all web and content accessibility needs. We offer completely automated, on-demand solutions that use the power of artificial intelligence, so we bear the burden of accessibility knowledge and compliance, not you. We've been in business since 2019 and offer these two solutions: an instant web accessibility tool, which we started selling last year and have 5 clients, and an instant captioning tool. The MVP for the captioning tool was completed in February this year, and the captions you're actually seeing were made with this tool to show you how it worked. Over the course of 2 years, I worked side by side with actual disabled internet users in conjunction with a company in Israel. The goal was simple: create a solution by disabled people for disabled people. These disabled workers are still a vital part of our team, and they serve as web and content testers. We provide them with jobs they otherwise wouldn't have had, furthering our social impact and helping the disability community as a whole. As opposed to software as a service, we like to call it accessibility as a service. So here's how the web tool works. The first component is the front-facing interface that's in the bottom left corner of the screen you see here flashing yellow. It's comprised of just one line of JavaScript code that's installed in the header of your website and is instantly displayed. When it's activated, it's able to make content adjustments to the website's text and images, as you see here. Scroll down, there's color and display adjustments that you see here, and navigation adjustments like making the cursor bigger. There's also a virtual keyboard for those with motor impairments, as well as many other features that you see in this entire tool. The second part is the AI-powered background application, and it optimizes the website for screen readers and keyboard navigation, which is 70% of the requirements. It uses machine learning, contextual understanding, and image recognition to identify and adjust elements to properly work with screen readers and keyboards. This is all done within 48 hours of installation. Web accessibility is not a new industry. There are dozens of services and plugins that are in the marketplace, but they're not as effective as our solution. And here's why. If you use an accessibility plugin like UserWay or User First, it's problematic because they don't comply with legislation, it fails to provide maintenance, and only really addresses 17% of requirements. If you use a manual service like Site Improve or Essential Accessibility, you're looking at a $5,000 to $30,000 price tag with a 3 to 26 week turnaround. And then once they finish and you start adding new content, that new content isn't accessible, so your compliance rate drops to 60% with no additional maintenance. This is why Nebula Media Group streamlines the process by making your website accessible and keeping it accessible using the AI, allowing us to charge competitive rates. Pricing for the tool is based on the amount of pages a website has, so we can offer a custom rate to each business we're serving. Most businesses have less than 1,000 pages. To further that impact and provide jobs to disabled workers, we include in all plans an annual disabled user live test, where disabled users go through client sites to assess any issues they see from a user experience standpoint. On this slide, you'll see our 4-tiered marketing strategy to become the leader in the accessibility consulting marketplace. 1. Referrals. This is entirely how we've gotten our first 5 clients. 2nd, hiring a dedicated sales staff to get each solution into as many hands as possible. 3rd, building a lead generation site to gain brand authority and organically drive in leads. And finally, the tool has the ability to be rebranded and resold under a white label, so partners can sell our tool under their brand name. With each service in place, the next step is to get it out into the marketplace and generate sales. This is why 70% would go into sales and marketing. 15% would be in product development using the feedback we get from customers. And 10% would go into legal to assure we're staying up to date with the latest accessibility regulations. The attractive part of Nebula Media Group is the potential it has to have an impact on all types of businesses in all types of industries. Remember, 98.1% of businesses don't have an accessible website, so the market size is truly endless. But it's important to not try and go for everyone. This is why we're targeting small, specific industries, the most sued mid-market for-profit companies, restaurants, especially now due to COVID-19, and businesses with an e-commerce focus. As mentioned earlier, we also have the ability to partner and white label our solution to web design agencies and digital marketing companies to expand their suite of services as well. While I am a company of one, I hardly did this alone. I was inspired from my personal experience of my 3 siblings with intellectual disabilities struggling to use the internet and social media. I wanted an authentic representation of inclusion in making this company. My advisory board consists of tech entrepreneurs, business executives, and disability rights advocates. I also have contracted out an outsourced development team. I have hired disabled web and content testers, and the BYOBB funds would be used to hire sales and marketing staff. Shifting into financials, we're accounting for conservative growth of 1 to 2 clients per month in each tier of services. We're also accounting for the BYOBB funds in these projections. With the funding, the goal is laser focused on getting more clients per month. As of Q2 this year, we've acquired 2 new clients, bringing our total to 5, and built out the MVP for the captioning tool. We're moving fast. These products are built and the proof of concept is there. It's scaling, reinvesting, and getting each tool out into the marketplace. To conclude, so much of our modern life takes place online, and it's not fair to make the web inaccessible to some people. We have a goal of making the internet fully accessible by 2025. We truly want to make a social impact to the 1 billion people in the world that need it and provide a solution by disabled people for disabled people. Frankly, it's about giving a damn. It just is. Accessible design is universal design and shouldn't stifle creativity and innovation. It should be a part of it. And it all starts with one small step. Help us achieve that goal. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.